All right. Hello again. All right. Dr. Phil here again, going over the biological tests that we did yesterday. Dr. Bailey and I did. So I want to go over you can see this triple sugar iron. All right, so as it indicates, triple sugar and iron in here. So it's going to have glucose, lactose, another sugar, and protein. So what's going to happen is the bacteria are going to consume the glucose first, and then the lactose, and then protein last as their source. So we know as bacteria consume glucose, they're going to ferment it, and it's going to produce acids, so there's going to be a pH indicator. All right, so the pH indicator is going to change. All right, I'm going to read this off of your lab sheet. So contains sugar. When it metabolizes, produces acid, and we know that's going to lower the pH. All right, has proteins or amino acids. When metabolized, produce amine group, raises the pH. So if it raises the pH, it's going to be higher, which means it's more basic, and then it's going to actually turn red. So yellow is acidic, red is going to be basic, and somebody is going to produce sodium bicarbonate, and we know that sodium bicarbonate is basic, and we know that also because it's one of the regulators for your pH in your blood, and your pancreas is going to release that too after your chyme hits your duodenum. Your stomach acid, acidity of your stomach is usually somewhere around a 4-ish, all right? And then the pH is too low. So your pancreas is gonna secrete bicarbonate to raise that pH so that the digestive enzymes, the lipase and amylase and things like that can work on the different items as a side note. But we know the bacteria will produce sodium bicarbonate, which can elevate the pH, all right? So ferrous ammonium sulfate, hydrogen sulfide, H2SO4, reduction will turn the medium black. So if we have the medium turning black, so we said yellow for acidic, red is for, basic. And if it turns it black, now we know that there's H2SO4 is produced. So, sulfate hydrogen sulfide is going to be produced. I have one here that turned black, and I literally took the top off, and it smelled like rotten eggs or sulfur. Right? So remember, bacteria will consume glucose first, lactose secondly, and protein last. It's really not the preferential, but if they run out of food, all right, for reproduction, they're going to consume protein. Bacteria will grow fastest on the slant as opposed to the butt. So we didn't really poke these into the deep part of the butt of the tube. And just remember, if you go deeper in the tube, there's going to be much less oxygen. So unless the microbe is it doesn't like oxygen, it has no proxidase or has no way of dealing with oxygen. It'll grow in anaerobic conditions, but it's growing on the slant here. All right, it's going to be a much higher oxygen concentration. They're going to grow much, much faster. Right? So we want a short incubation time. I talked about with the MRVP test. All right. So these cultures were literally 24 hours old when we inoculated them. They've been in the incubator for almost exactly 24 hours. I pulled them out. So now they're at room temperature. All right. So remember, yellow is due to acid production. Red is going to be for a higher pH. All right. May have bubbles develop in the butt of a tube to the production of sodium bicarbonate, and I said before, that's going to coincidentally increase the pH value. So it could give you slightly false readings, possibly. All right. So after 48 hours, you may see bacterial growth in the bottom of the butt tube. Once again, yellow would indicate glucose consumption and acid production. All right, so it's Thursday afternoon. It is 2:30 here. I'm going to come in the morning and see if anything changes. But then again, here is triple sugar agar. This is baseline what it should look like. All right, this This is Enterobacteriaceae. All right, so maybe I'll go against the white background. Baseline, Enterobacteriaceae. All right, and I'm going to try to zoom in on that. All right, you can probably see all those colonies, that white colonies growing on there. All right. See that right there, all right? All right. Baseline, this is Pseudomonas. All right. If you look, there's some growth on there. Right. Not a whole, it didn't consume a whole lot of glucose because it didn't change the color. All right. But if you look at that, you see all the growth on there. Now remember, Pseudomonas grows on everything. It grows on sponges, mops. It can grow on bar soap, anything. It can grow on plumbing. It grows everywhere. Ubiquitous. Yeah, ubiquitous. All right. Now, baseline. Look at this guy. All right, so I'll turn it on that in my horrible handwriting. Says Proteus. Okay, that's Proteus. So I would say that that is pretty dark. And if you look, sorry guys, I wish you guys were here. You could see this. There's a few, see little tiny little raised areas on there. There's a few colonies on there, but this isn't going to be sterile now. Okay, you need to smell that. It's like rotten egg. Smells like a bad perm. Not that there's ever a good perm. All right, but that's the color change. All right. So, like from your lab sheet, remember if it's dark, it's going to be H2SO4. Sulfate, hydrogen sulfide is produced. That's going to be indicative. There's only a few that will do that, right? So here is Serratia. All right, orange turned yellow, very, very acidic. And if you look, Dr. Bailey did this one, you can literally, you could trace her zigzag pattern. So she did that, the inoculation loop, we used aseptic technique, and literally you see at the base here, which she had the majority of it, and then she zigzagged out, and as it got thinner and thinner and thinner, so great job, Dr. Bailey. Here is baseline. Here is, says KLEV Klebsiella. So great job, Dr. Bailey. Nice, beautiful, perfectly done. And this is E. coli. All right, changed. All right. The cool thing about this is there's not a whole lot there. You can see it a little bit where I did it. So it didn't take even a whole lot, and that thing literally changed, consumed all that glucose, changed it. So, you know, I'm going to look tomorrow and see if there's a radical change, but we can say that all of these consumed glucose, all right, except for this one. Didn't seem to be, that's Pseudomonas, all right? Not much of a color change, but it was growing on there, all right? So, you know, maybe it doesn't like glucose. Not a big carb lover. All right. There's Proteus, hydrogen sulfide, and guys, like you were here, probably put coronavirus in there. The baseline. All right, I'm going to end this one and upload this one too.